I am so excited to take you around today's home tour. It takes quite some time to get a project finished, so you don't get to see these home tours very often. So when they do come up, it is such a pleasure to be able to film them and get them done for you. I also would like to say that today, just before walking you around this beautiful home, I am wearing a gorgeous silk shirt gifted to me by lilysilk. lilysilk are a company that do the most beautiful silk shirts, silk loungewear, silk wear. They even do some really gorgeous silk pillow covers, some of which you'll see in a moment. And their products, which I absolutely love, are made with natural fibers. They only make as much as they can actually sell, which I think is such an incredible quality. And they are just a fabulous company. They have the absolute best service, and I've been so pleased with the quality of what they've done. Hopefully you'll be seeing me in a lot more of their products. If you are interested in not only this shirt, but what else they've got to offer, and they really do have a huge range, then do take a look in the description box below. You will get a discount based on buying from that link. Okay, so now let's get on with the rest of the home tour. So when we walked into this room, we were given this huge space which we had to work with. It already had this existing kitchen that's behind me, or some of which is behind me, and this really open space. And actually it's a sort of funny shaped room because we've got two whole areas of window that just create these two sections of wall that come together as a triangle. And so it was a little bit of an odd shape to work with, but of course, fabulous views all over London. Now, we needed to fit into this space a living room, a dining area, and we needed to build into the existing island. And actually this island was only about 2 meters long, and it's probably now about 6 meters long. And you can see this stunning island behind me, which actually originally started just from here and literally just went all the way up to here. We've added this extra front area to add additional cabinets. We've then added this beautiful breakfast bar area, and we've also added just behind me this amazing cheese board, cutting board section that actually fits beautifully into the family functionality of this space, and I will explain in a moment. So obviously we've extended this island, and it is much bigger now than it was originally, but it's also much more detailed, and it was really quite a simple island. In fact, it was the same color as those units that you can see just behind me. So really, really dark, just very flat, which is absolutely fine. And because they were brand new, it didn't really make sense to, start the whole process again and, tear it all down. It would have been such a waste. So instead, what we decided to do was we thought, okay, well, we've got a lot of space here from a length perspective. So why don't we build this unit out and we add around it this section over here, which is additional cabinets to give them more storage, because obviously, there's not so much storage in this kitchen behind. So we've given them a whole set of cabinet doors behind here. But not only have we given them cabinet doors, they are exquisitely beautiful. We've got stunning marble overlay on here. And then we've got this double layer of liquid metal over here. And then we've got these contrasting metal handles with this really unique shape. So I think, the cabinets have just added this richness to the whole look. And rather than just being a flat black sort of island panel, we've now pulled that out, given our clients extra storage, but we've also made it so much more beautiful. Something I want to note here, because I think a lot of people feel that marbles or two different marbles don't really work together. You can see how here we've got this much darker marble working with this liquid metal, but actually, it sits really well. This is a great example, and something I really want to point out in this video, that actually you can mix marbles and you can mix them in quite close context, so that, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to look odd. It absolutely looks fantastic. If you then have a look over here, we've added in and built in these extra drawers just over this marble section, and it's, oops, I've pulled the papers out. And it's actually, gosh, I've pulled the paper out completely. That wasn't good for the video. But actually, look, they've got this really lovely soft close. They are a beautiful addition on this island. And it's made this island just completely more useful. Now, let me talk to you about the most interesting parts of this great island. I'll talk you through the breakfast area first, which is just down here. Now, The clients are a couple basically, and they've got grown-up kids. So generally when they're sort of sitting together in the mornings, where we have this larger dining table in the back, they're wanting to have a more casual sort of seating area for breakfast or a cup of coffee. And this is the perfect option because it's in this sort of area that would have otherwise been lost because we couldn't have used this sort of space for the living room area. But you know, also they wouldn't necessarily want to sit on their big dining table, just the two of them. So it's created this really casual spot for breakfast or for a coffee. And interestingly, actually the window that faces this particular area is probably the best view from a window perspective of the whole house. So it really is a lovely place to sit in the morning and you get the best sunshine from that window. So lovely, lovely spot. We've got these really beautiful boucle fabric dining chairs, which I absolutely adore. I love the back of these chairs. I always think with dining chairs, it's really important to think about the back of the chair because of course, I get a lot of clients thinking about the front of the chair and yet what you generally see is the back. So it's really nice to be able to have any kind of detail on the back, but definitely here, these two brass strips are really stunning. So I love that look. I don't know if you'll see necessarily unless I pull them out, but over here, you've also got this curved arm and it really works beautifully with the curve on the actual island. Now, our island is a rectangle and we wanted to bring in that break of sort of square shapes and angles. And so we created this curve in these stools and also in the breakfast island bar area, which I think works beautifully. Now it's all prepped for video shooting and flowers and everything else today. But you know, even without the setting, it really is just a fabulous piece. And I think, you know, some people maybe want to get a ceramic top on their island and don't necessarily want to splash out on really expensive marble everywhere. But if you can do it and you are making an extension to an island, then if you're going to splurge on some really beautiful marble, why not do it on the breakfast bar area? Okay, so now we come to my favorite part of this whole kitchen island, which is this completely bespoke made chopping board, cheese board area. Now my clients particularly love having cheese and wine nights, and building in this area and making it completely bespoke, sorry, not bloke, was the perfect way to kind of enhance that lifestyle that the client was looking for. And I think it really meant something to the client that we could add something like this in. It's been styled here with their cheese and bread and grapes, but obviously usually it would just be this really gorgeous chopping board. And we've got this really lovely detailing in the marble. And we've also, interestingly, created some more detailing and reading effect on the doors here, so that rather than just create another dark door like the ones we've got behind us, we thought, okay, well, you've got to use that same color and kind of resonate that within the build of the rest of the design, but we want to do it so that, you know, it has a little bit more texture. And so we've added it here. We've got the reading on the door, we've got the reading within the marble, and then if you look at the actual sort of plan view or bird's eye view, if you like, of this cheese board, you then get this really luxurious bespoke wooden piece made that fit perfectly into this piece of marble. I'm so happy with this. I cannot tell you. I think it's probably one of my favorite pieces we've ever built. If I open this door and you guys come around, if you can, I'm going to show you, we've got two pull-out trays that you can actually just use when you're serving, which I think is a really useful added touch that we've given the clients. You've also got these lovely different sections for your different cheese knives. And then again, we've considered the fact that they love having their wine nights and they want to have them really close by. So these are for their wine glasses. So just to let you know, in terms of distance and proximity, this area is now closest to the dining area, which is perfect again for the client, because of course what they wanted was to be able to entertain and then sort of hop over to their wine and cheese area and then have that for their dinners and their setups and their nights with their friends. So it's a really lovely addition. And I think just the proximity of it all makes so much sense. Behind me, we have the most beautiful extra piece of joinery that I'm so grateful my clients agreed on. We've got these absolutely stunning detailed sort of just slightly 3D doors. Again, this lovely liquid metal finish that just pops out. A marbled effect in terms of liquid metal. I'm not sure how exactly to describe that, but I love the fact that it's very straight edged and it feels very solid as metalwork, but then you've got these really lovely curved details and design that we made completely bespoke. We've put a lovely metal top on there, and then we've got some really beautiful shelving detail. So you'll see the detail of this later, but we wanted to play with the details of the shelves rather than just having them as straight edged shelves. And we've got these lovely curved details. I'm absolutely obsessed with this. And of course, we've then styled the shelves to make them come alive, you know, and I think that's where styling and accessorizing really does make everything pull together. In terms of color, we wanted to bring some kind of an organic color in here. Obviously, we're using a lot of metal detailing in this property. So one way in which we wanted to, you know, make that still feel warm is by making everything feel very organic, pulling in some greens. You can see we've got a lovely moss bowl over here, but then we've popped some green into the artwork here and kept that metal frame detailing. So we've been really conscious of where we're adding in green and also where we're adding in color. This particular client loved the idea of having either a maroon or a sort of purple. And again, this is not typical for me because, you know, I don't generally put any colors as base colors in, but we got this fabulous creamy taupe round dining table. And we've got this lovely inlaid detail of metal lines. And because, of course, we went for this round dining table, we then wanted to have that mirrored back within the dining chairs, which we've done here. And as you can see, I have something that's very unusual for us, which is a sort of deep purple colored dining chair, which I think works perfectly here. I am so happy that we've really popped some deep sort of base color into this project. I think it's worked beautifully, and I think we really went very far in terms of detail for this project. So I think it looks really wonderful and it's come together beautifully. I'm going to take you to the living room section now. Okay, so the next section is the living room section. And again, this feels so soft and warm. And I guess it's pulling more back to the type of, you know, color combination that I'm more accustomed with. But I don't know if you can see this right from where you are. The most stunning light that I think I have wanted to install in a project for many years is this incredible Mondrian light on top of me. It's so geometric. It symbolizes completely for me what this particular property is all about, which is that sort of contrast between the soft and the hard and the roundness and the geometric shapes. And, you know, you can see that theme really throughout the whole of this home. So I love that that is in this absolutely massive oversized light. I love it here. We had to make a real conscious decision about where to put a light in this room because, you know, we've got so many different sections. You know, you've got the breakfast bar section and the kitchen section and the dining section and the living room section. And it was difficult to know where you wanted your statement light, but I think we've definitely chosen the right place because you want to be able to sort of look at it slightly further away when you walk into the room so that it really does become a pull through. And this is exactly where it is. So I love that it's here. We are walking over this incredible rug that we purchased for the client and had designed bespoke. It is very much a combination or a sort of merging of scribbles as well as, you know, crackles. And I think it's worked so well. We've got some areas where there is more space and so you can only really see lines, and then some areas where it becomes much more dense with that sort of that theme going through the scribbles and the lines. But also, as everybody knows, I love an ombre. We have used all the colors in the room, so these greens and the creams and the taupes, and actually given those to the rug manufacturer, and they've come up with poms, which are these little samples that you put together to make this rug, and they've pulled all of those colors together to really make the most magnificent rug, which just literally connects everything in this room together. So it is just perfection. I love it. This coffee table actually is not the coffee table that we sourced for the project. It was one of those items that it actually looks beautiful in here, but it's one of those items that the manufacturer couldn't deliver on time. And so I wanted to be able to present the client with a completely finished room. And so I purchased this coffee table for them so that they wouldn't move into a home without anything. And, you know, it's absolutely beautiful actually in this place. So I'm really glad we did. I think they'll probably keep this one. Then over here, we've got these really lovely rounded sofas. Now they are very, very modern, and they are probably not sofas that I would consider purchasing for a project at first. And so when my client suggested, you know, they wanted a curved sofa, we thought, okay, well, let's try a different shape and let's see if we could be playful with this and, you know, stand out a little bit more. And everything in this property is about, you know, being a little bit more unique and, you know, going down another level of detail. So I love the fact that we use this really unique shape in the sofa. I also think that they're sort of straight enough that they won't end up dated. So I love the fact that, yes, we've used that curve and, you know, we've used this really beautiful fabric, but actually it is still classic enough that it will remain for many years and still be a really wonderful choice, which to me is really, really important. Of course, we've accessorized everything, but behind me is my favorite part of this whole room, other than the island, and I can't really decide which is my favorite part, but it's definitely one of the favorites. I'm just gonna walk here to show you. Now, this is a bespoke TV cabinet. Usually, you know that we will make full television wall units, and this is just a perfect example to show you how unique you can make a bespoke piece of furniture, even as a TV cabinet. Now, the TV cabinet actually goes up and down, although the electricians haven't yet finished, so I can't show you. But the TV does go all the way down. These doors open and close, so we've made it quite deep so that when the TV falls back down, it goes down to the bottom section. And that means you've still got some very shallow, but nevertheless, you've still got some drawers in this cupboard. Now, of course, you can see this really unique shape of the door leaves. I love this. It's a very geometric Art Deco look, but it's also very, very elegant. And I think this with the Mondrian geometric light is just such a compliment and just makes the room feel so seamless. It's definitely one of the favorite pieces of furniture I think we've ever designed bespoke. It is a shagreen and a dark bronze, and the shagreen is inlaid into all of the door leaves. It really works perfectly in this room. Okay, so now let's take a look at the rest of the house. This is a very small but really elegant and also quite fun study. So there are a couple of elements that I love in here. One is this really unique shaped sofa. Now, I'm not a big one for changing, you know, sofa shapes, and I quite like to keep it classic, but I love the fact that the client was willing to play around here and do something new. It is quite a small space, so we wanted to be really fun with it and, you know, really experiment, and I think it looks fantastic. We've got this really interesting shape on the arms, and we've complemented that with some beautiful blue cushions in the background. We've again chosen this really lovely light blue fabric. It kind of looks like my jeans. And we used lots of the client's own artwork, which again, I think is a really nice special touch because, you know, you want to sort of inject that sense of the client themselves and their family and their life into their homes. And so having this gentleman's artwork all around just felt really lovely. Then we've got this really beautiful desk that we had to make bespoke because we wanted to put the desk in a corner so that you could really benefit from the rest of the room. If we'd stuck the desk sort of where the sofa is or even where the TV unit is, you wouldn't have then had this big spacious feeling area really in which this kind of feels like a room, but, you know, not dedicated only to a study. So the study sits in the corner, and really lucky for us, most people would see, I guess, the triangular shape of this room really challenging, but we used the corner of the triangle, let's call it, for the desk area. So it's very comfortable if you're working sitting at your desk area, but also, like I said, from a perspective of the whole room, it hasn't now eaten up the main section of the room. So we're really lucky in that we were able to use that so well. The desk is very slightly smaller than it would be if it was a standard size desk, but it still really works, and it's a beautiful, elegant, bespoke piece. The television unit I really love because we haven't done a, you know, usual sort of timber clad wall panel. We went with something really soft. We wanted to resonate this touch of blue throughout. So we've done that on the TV unit, but we've still made, you know, the TV feel quite serious and smart by having it framed in a dark timber and with a brass double frame. So although we've gone very soft on the outside of the unit, the framing of the TV is still quite bold and masculine and serious. So I love that. I think that we've played really well in this room. Again, the rug is really, really fun. It's a round shape, so we wanted to be quite playful. We wanted to inject more character into the room, and so we've done that. It's a very small space, so it's difficult to do a lot with this space, but we wanted to really play with it because it is small. And so rather than make the fact that it's small an issue, we wanted to really play with that and make it a more fun and charismatic space, which I think we've done. And like I said, the carpet works beautifully with that. There are some really gorgeous lines in the carpet which reflect this really lovely curve in the sofa. And I think that works really, really well throughout the space and works to complement everything in here. There are so many elements of this master bedroom that I am obsessed with, but I'm just going to take my pick and start randomly. So I think for me, the shape and design of this headboard are incredibly unique. We have really tried to interpret that look of the standard sort of rectangular back panel and just create small differences, but through the detail of it. So you can see there are some metal inlays, some metal lines, and then we went to a specialist artisan and picked a bespoke floral leather panel that's handmade and has some laser cut within it, and it just is so beautiful and has so much depth. It's actually almost hard to describe in words just because it really has so much to offer visually. And I think just being here just takes my breath away, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to turn and look back to pick all the different elements. We obviously have chosen this kind of navy and contrasting white cream background. Navy isn't necessarily something I always go for in a bedroom, although I love the color blue, so you'll see it throughout my interiors. But I think, it is a really great color. Blue generally inspires nature, inspires the water, the sky, and so it's lovely to have that sort of aspect of nature in a bedroom. I have really loved setting out the accessories in the room. We wanted to do something that felt really family and really warm. So of course we've got candles and we've got frames. I've then put a little ashtray because I think people forget that, normal people still use ashtrays. I mean, you might want to put some gum down, or I don't know, if not gum or anything like that, you might want to put your ring down or a bracelet. And I love an ashtray for that. So we've put that on the bedside tables, which I think are in themselves very unique. There's this sort of airy gap in the first section, which just makes everything feel like you've got more space, but that doesn't mean that we then don't have enough drawers. We've got lots of drawers all the way down to the bottom, and beautifully we've taken up the whole space between the wall and the bed so that we give this client as much as we can in terms of space saving. The chairs I'm sitting on are so comfortable. I'm loving this boucle fabric. Now, I hope it's not just going to be a trend because I am seeing it everywhere. I've noticed that lots of different fabric companies are coming out with their own version of a boucle fabric. I love a boucle. I think it looks warm, intimate, but it also looks kind of fun. So what's quite nice is that you get this texture and this thickness in a boucle that I think another fabric doesn't necessarily have. Although I try and stay away from very trendy items, this is one trend that I do really like, and I'm finding it hard to stay away from because people are just bringing out such amazing boucle fabrics. It's kind of hard not to be attracted. And behind me, what else do we have? We've got these gorgeous prints that we've bought from a really lovely art trade supplier. They're all over the world. You can buy art prints from anywhere, really. I think if you frame art prints really well, they end up looking beautiful. So, be creative with your framing and you can go a long way. In terms of the cushions, we've kept everything really, really simple. We've, kept the color range really simple in terms of the scatter cushions. And what we've done is just kind of layer up on that navy blue and the white. And we've created contrast with either the fringe detail on the white cushion there in the middle, or we've created a really blasting strong white on the blue cushion. And I think that really works. It feels very uniform, very smart, but also really enjoyable and fun to look at. Now, something I always think a navy blue or a blue creates is a real sense of richness and grandness. And, you know, there's just something regal about blue that I love. As you can see, I'm clearly a fan with my lilysilk shirt on here, but I do like a navy blue, and I like all forms, to be honest with you. I've actually got on the rug down here just below a really beautiful ombre effect with light blues, darker blues, and that mix of kind of creams and whites. And I think just playing with those two colors really works well. And it just shows you that I think you don't have to go to this huge thought process when it comes to color. You know, if you do want to use a color, go for it, but use then perhaps a simple additional color that you can contrast with that so that there's not too much going on. And I think it's a really clever way to boost in some color into a space, but not go over the top and try and work out, you know, what other colors works here. You can just use two colors and really play around with that, and it will really, really work, as you can see it has here. I guess the other thing that I really love here is just, I mean, the possibility of having somewhere to sit. Now, I know that space, definitely in London, isn't something that we all have the luxury of having, and this room is one of the bigger rooms that we've designed. But I love the fact that the chair really makes a room feel more spacious because it feels like you've got the space to have one in. That doesn't mean you should stick one everywhere just to make it feel bigger, because it won't always. But if you do have the luxury of having a little bit more space and you think you can have a chair in a master bedroom or any bedroom, then I think it gives that illusion of, you know, having a little bit more space. And of course, from a utility perspective, it's perfect, because I don't know about you guys, but I wake up and want to sit somewhere. I don't always want to race out of my bedroom, and it's a great place to, you know, put on socks or different items when you need to, and not have to stand all the time or sit on your bed for everything. So I love the idea of being able to have at least one chair or a bench or something in the room to be able to perch on. The last thing I think I'll say in this room is that I really love the curtains. And again, curtains I think are something that a lot of people find a little bit tricky, but I think you can create a really elegant curtain and a really sort of beautiful flowing curtain with just using one base color for your curtain. And if you want it to look very interior designed, or, you know, with that added little detail, then you know, you can use a leading edge, which by the way just means adding on a trim to the end of your curtains, which we've done here. It looks fantastic. You can pull that through the color scheme of your room. But even if that leading edge weren't here, the curtains would still be beautiful. And I love the fact that we've really paired back with them and just kept them cream simple and done a really lovely cream matching sheer. On to the next room. Here we are at the second bedroom in the home, and this is the guest bedroom. I've just had to quickly go and grab my coffee. This room is really my favorite room, I think, in the whole house. And we took quite a leap in this room and went for a color that I absolutely love, but in all honesty, I've never really experimented with in a room. And I'm seeing a lot of autumnal, you know, burnt orange, red tones at the moment in interiors, and I'm loving them. So I thought, well, you know, how can we try this in one of the bedrooms, but really still keep it neutral and really smart and fun? And I think we've achieved all of that here. I love the way this looks. I will definitely be trying this again. It's just been such a favorite room of mine. One of the best things about this room is the headboard. The headboard is a bespoke curved headboard, so it's sort of straight from the front and then it curves around the edges, which really makes the bed feel completely enclosed, but still really open because it's a sort of open curve. And I love the real contrast in this room of sort of hard and soft. So, you know, you've got all of these fabrics and different layers, and certainly with the lighting here, you've got this gorgeous pendant light with this crackled feeling of glass, which means that there are no real straight lines in the glass itself, but then it's a very straight lined pendant, and that falls, you know, very straight on to almost the curve in the headboard. So it looks absolutely fantastic. There's a lot of brass detailing in the headboard itself. The headboard also has buckle details, which I absolutely love, and I'm sure you've now seen starting to come through with some of my projects. And I just love that feeling. It's sort of very Ralph Lauren-like, but I love that look. And I think it works really, really well with this sort of burnt orange tan color. Really, really smart. It's such a powerful color in many ways, but it really is very luxurious. And I think we wanted to then pair that with a color that would make this room softer and still very neutral feeling. And so what we've done is we've gone, you know, for a complete contrast, and we've used a cream in the background against this tanned color, and we've then resonated that throughout all of the fabrics. So you've got this creamy white coming through with a touch of gold even in the cushions, and then you've got that talking back to the brass and the headboard. You've got some really lovely piping detail. We've actually gone for a blue piping detail on some of the cream cushions to give it that kind of, you know, feeling of contrast in every single area. And then we've got this really wonderful fabric that I'm sitting on that is the bed runner, and we've tried to incorporate all of the different colors in the room into this fabric, and then we've accessorized again with some really lovely tan leather details. This is actually the bedroom for the son of the family, and it definitely has that masculine, but the older masculine feel, so it's not a little boy's room. It definitely feels very grown up and smart and funky to me. We've also gone for some very, very smart and actually small sized bedside tables because we didn't have very much room either side, but they're a great example of how you can have bedside tables that are quite small and that still feel like they, you know, fit in and carry the whole of the space, which they definitely do here. We've then got this really lovely chair behind me, this armchair, which actually we didn't purchase, the client already had, and it was in this sort of tan leather color, so it works beautifully in this room. We've draped across this lovely yellowish throw, and I've complemented the colors in that yellow throw because I think the yellow works really beautifully with this tan color, with of course some flowers on the side. So altogether, this is definitely one of my favorite rooms, probably not just in this project, but of all time. It signifies for me a real step out into something a little bit different, and I love that because, you know, it's quite difficult with an interior design when you become known for a particular style to then sort of step out and try something new. But if I can do it, then you guys can do it too. It's a lovely way to try something new and develop something. And hopefully this inspires you to do the same and know that you can't really get it wrong if you're careful and thoughtful about how you use a color. I always say use a neutral as a backdrop if you're really unsure, but if you do want to go and use a bold color, then absolutely use one, and then just try and contrast that with some lighter colors to give it that sense of ease and balance. Okay, so I just wanted to show you a last little detail because I'm not sure if you can see it from that far away in the camera, but I want to show you how you can actually mix two of the same colors but in different textures, and we've got a really lovely velvet here in that burnt orange color, and then I've actually used the leather above here also. So it's not just the leather in the buckle, but it's actually a leather going all the way across, and that gives this really lovely sense of layering on the bed. And coming to layering, I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the cushions because of course I do love a good cushion. We've got a layer of 3 cushions at the back. This bed is around 180 to 200 centimeters. I like to talk in dimension instead of in, you know, name, so in king, queen and double, etc., because I know that every different country has a different name and a different size for that name. So this is about a 180 to 200 centimeter bed, and we've got 60 by 60 centimeter cushions at the back. There's a row of 3 of them, just to give you an idea of the kind of proportionality of everything. And I've used at the back a really strong kind of punchy contrast. So we've used the same fabric as the back panel of those cushions that I've got on the headboard. So it's this lovely orangey velvet color. And then I've used this lovely thick navy blue trim and this very cream fabric at the front. And I think that contrast works really, really beautiful. It makes a real big statement. And then in the front, we just fell in love with this gold sort of geometric, fun, artistic fabric. So rather than have a contrast here, and obviously there's quite a lot going on in this kitchen, we just decided to keep it all the same fabric and use again a nice thick cream trim. And I think this gold works particularly beautifully because it's quite a subtle golden color. And of course, we've got brass details everywhere on the bed, which really links through nicely. And then just below, we've got this really lovely patterned cushion, which again brings in beautifully that cream and orange color and sort of pulls everything back together. And then we've got this lovely bed runner. Now, you don't always need a whole bed cover on a bed like this. It's enough if you want to, you know, go a little bit more simple and not have so many layers, just to have a bed runner, especially when that bed runner is pulling all the colors from the bedroom in. And I think it does that really beautifully here. I'm just going to pull it up so you can have a look. We've got, again, this lovely trim all the way around this bed cover, just to sort of finish it off. And that trim is actually, again, the same fabric that we've got, the velvet fabric that we've got as the base of the headboard. So it really works beautifully. And I think everything, you know, in this room has just come together so well. I wanted to mention actually that we've got these really special pillows at the back here from lilysilk. I like to position both of my pillows always one flat above the other, and they look so beautiful in this silk from lilysilk, who've gifted us these gorgeous pillow covers. They are a company that use natural fibers. These silk pillow covers are actually some of their most popular. They are absolutely gorgeous. And I think sometimes with silk, people get worried that they might feel a little too soft or a little too clumsy. But actually, these silk pillow covers really hold the sort of structure of my pillows. So they've just made this look feel absolutely impeccable, and I absolutely love it. And there you have it. That completes this amazing home tour. I'm so glad I got to take you around. This truly is one of my all-time project loves. I have loved designing this project with my team, but I also have found that we have developed our design so much within this project, and I loved every moment of it. And I also very much enjoyed taking you guys around. If you enjoyed this, then do stay tuned for more home tours and lots more, including design tips and goodness knows what else, but lots more coming. So I've enjoyed doing this for you guys. I hope you loved it. If you did, subscribe, stay on the channel, keep watching out for more. If there's anything that you want to ask me a question about or anything else that you'd like to see, then do please leave me a comment below and I will do my best to come back to you.